and he starts living in fear. He becomes so fearful that just the sound, if anybody speaks that, he thinks, oh, I think his Ram is coming. And that indicates that Ram may shoot me with the arrows. He becomes extremely paranoid. And then he gives us his demoniac activities and starts living like an ascetic. Has his own small hermitage. And he starts living, performing penances, hoping to avoid the fate of being destroyed by Ram's arrows. And in the scriptures it is said that whatever we think of continuously, we attract that situation to ourselves. So by thinking repeatedly of Ram's arrows, he ends up being the target of Ram's arrows. In modern psychology, they talk about this principle as the power of intention or the power of attraction. Whatever we think about, we will attract to ourselves. Now this has to be understood carefully. It is true, but it is not an absolute principle. So there are some self-help books which claim that whatever you think about with conscious intention, you will get that. So the videos where they show a woman goes by a jewelry shop and she sees a beautiful necklace over there. And then she looks at it and she develops a conscious intention for it. Next day she is wearing that necklace. A man goes by a car shop and he sees a car showroom and he sees an attractive car and looks at it, develops his conscious intention, and next day he's riding that car. Now this is actually imagination, where one has elevated one's own thought process to the level of omnipotence. You think that whatever I think about, I'll achieve it. At a simple level, we are all going to grow old. We're going to get deceased. We're going to die. And no amount of positive thinking is going to stop this. Yes, it's not that we have to think ourselves old and sickly. We try to be as healthy as possible. But the aging process is inevitable. Even if, say, a person who thinks by the power of conscious intention, I'm not going to die, I'm not going to die, I'm not going to die. The person dies. Yamadutas come there and they say, I'm not going to die, you are dead. So, it's just by our thoughts, we can't change reality. Just by our thoughts. But that does not mean that our thoughts have no power. One extreme is to think that our thoughts alone determine the reality. The other extreme is to think that the reality is what it is and our thoughts make no difference. Actually, our thoughts, at the very least, they affect our endeavor. So if we are doing something, if somebody is, say, learning to do something, if they are learning to cook, learning to drive, learning to swim, learning to play a game, they always think, oh, I won't be able to do it, I won't be able to do it, I won't be able to do it. That negative thinking will sabotage their efforts and they will not be able to do it. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, there are 5 factors which determine the result of an action. Adhisthana tatha karta, karanam cha prathak vidha, vividhascha tat cheshta, daivam chaivam prapanchamam. So, Adhisthana is the sphere of action, the body. Karta is the doer, the soul. Karanam is the senses. And vividhascha tat cheshta, the endeavor is the 4th factor. And daiva, destiny, is the 5th factor. So now, when we direct our endeavor, so a simple way to understand is right now I am speaking. So my body has to be in a basically healthy condition for me to speak. The specific organ that I am using for speaking, the throat, has to be functional. And the soul has to be present in the body. Without that, no action can happen. And then when a person is speaking, there has to be endeavor to speak coherently, to speak effectively. Some amount of endeavor is required. And daiva, even when all these are there, there is the element of destiny, which alone makes things happen. I may come here there's a big gathering and there's no power supply. I may speak but nobody will be able to hear. I may want to come here but along the road there is traffic and you can't reach it. So many things can go wrong, and despite all our planning, things will not work out. So Daiva, destiny, which is ultimately the will of the Absolute, that is the fifth factor. Now when we desire to do something, then destiny reciprocates also by putting all the things in place. So for example, if we are determined to do something, then our own senses perform in the best possible way. Our endeavors become more focused. So our intention doesn't create reality alone, but our intention can function in terms of attracting destiny to reciprocate. Of course, that reciprocation is not unconditional, but reciprocation is there. So the point which I am making is our thoughts, they are not omnipotent, but they are also not impotent. They have potency. And that's why having a positive, confident, assertive attitude is valuable in actualizing our intentions. Now conversely, when we worry, by worrying about something, the power of our intention attracts that thing. That which we don't want, we attract by worrying about it. So if I worry constantly, what if I get cancer? What if I get cancer? What if I get cancer? Now my thinking alone won't give me cancer. But that thinking can set up such circumstances by which I may unwittingly eat the kind of foods, expose myself to the kind of environments, and by which I may become vulnerable. So the thoughts alone don't create reality, but the thoughts are not utterly, are not entirely a non-factor in the creation of reality. So in the case of Maricha, because he's constantly thinking, oh, Ram's arrows, they have been hit twice by those arrows, he feared that those arrows would come and hit him again. And that exactly was what happened eventually. So when this happened, how did this work out? So he was living the life of ascetic, but in the meanwhile, Ravana had a desire to get even with Ram by abducting Sita. And he came to Maricha, asking for Maricha's help. Maricha was an expert shapeshifter. Many demons have shape-changing abilities, but the extent of the shape change that they can do, that's limited. But Maricha's, he was a specialist in that. It's like some of us, all of us may be able to sing, but some people are extraordinary singers. All of us may be able to do some kind of yoga exercises, but some people have, their body is like a rubber band, it can shift anyway. It's super flexible. So there is a scale of abilities. So the demons are a class of beings who have certain abilities which humans don't have. One of them is the shape-changing ability. But even among the shape-changing ability, the extent of the variation is different for different people. So Ravana, he came to Maricha to ask him to change his shape so that he could assume the form of entirely another species. He told him, you become a deer and you allure Ram away. As soon as he spoke the word Ram, Maricha was horrified. And when he heard about the full plan to antagonize Ram, he said, what enemy of you has advised you to do such a thing? Ram's power is so great that even the greatest of the gods or the greatest of the demons cannot combat him. Those who try to provoke him will themselves be destroyed. O king, do not antagonize Ram in any way. Ravana became circumspect. He knew that Maricha was a powerful demon, and he respected Maricha's words. he expected Maricha's assessment of Ram's strength, and he had himself seen that also. Ravana had positioned at an outpost in Janasthan 14,000 of his demons, headed by Khara and Dushan, along with another demon Trishira. And Ram had single-handedly overcome all of them. This was an incredible display of strength. So he had heard about it in action, and he had actually got that vindicated. So he went back. At this point, Ravana's intention, Ravana was not so particularly enamored by Sita at this particular point. His goal was simply to use Sita as a tool to get back at Ram. But when he went back, what happened was, just as he was trying to use Sita to get back at Ram, he himself became a target of someone's manipulation. Who was that? Yeah, Shurpanka. She came back and she felt humiliated because Lakshmana had disfigured. So she tried to goad Ravana into action, saying that, yes, what kind of king are you? I'm a sister, I've been dishonored and you're doing nothing. It's interesting, the accusation that she gave is, she said that a king is meant to be responsible to protect the citizens. But you are a king with uncontrolled senses. It is accusing a demon of having uncontrolled senses. And a demon also gets angry on hearing this. He says that because your senses are uncontrolled, so you have forgotten your responsibilities. And that's why you're just enjoying over here while the citizens are suffering. So Ravana is angered at this public accusation. So what are you talking about? And then when he sees her disfigured nose, he asks, what? Who did this to me? And then she tells Ram did that. As soon as he hears the word Ram, all his anger disappears. And he knows enough not to antagonize Ram. Because he also is aware at this particular point that he does not have immunity against humans, as per the benediction that he has got from the gods. So then Shurpanaka starts describing Sita's beauty and incites her. And once he gets incited, at that time, Krishna says that once we contemplate on the sense objects, the result is that we lose our intelligence. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangaste shubhajayate sangsat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibrama smriti bhramashad buddhinashat pranashyati. So from contemplation to destruction of intelligence is like a ramp. If there is a ramp, if you put some luggage on the ramp and it's inclined, the luggage will just slide down rapidly. So like that, on the ramp of our thoughts, if we let the thought of a sense object come there, then it just keeps going down, 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 and as it keeps going down, 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 the desire for it becomes stronger and stronger. And eventually it basically destroys whatever it comes in the way. In some places there are snowballs. Sometimes if there is a sloping mountain, hill, at the top snow falls and the snow slides down, 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 and if it comes down, it can destroy the settlements that are there. So then they may have some barricades at the bottom of the hill. So then the snow wall is formed. Snowball comes and hits the barricade and stops over. Now this kind of barricades are prepared, but they can withstand only snowballs of a particular size. But if the snowball is very big, then by the time it comes down, its size becomes so huge that whatever barricade is made, it's knocked off. And the snowball moves forward and can destroy the settlements. Similarly, for us, when some unworthy desires come within us, at that time our intelligence is meant to be like a barricade. I shouldn't be doing this. But if the contemplation becomes too much, by that the momentum of that desire becomes so strong, whatever barricade is there, it's overthrown. And thus, this is what happened to Ravana. Earlier, with his intelligence, I'm not going to antagonize Rama. But now when the desire became strong, he lost his intelligence. And then again he went back to Maricha. And he told Maricha, I have not come here to ask for your suggestions. I have come here to give you instruction. Maricha tried to speak to him when he told his plan. I want you to do what I have told you. He tried to make him see sense. By this time, Maricha, Ravana had lost all his intelligence. Actually, when we get overcome by desires, the desires don't destroy our intelligence. The desires, they cause our intelligence to defect. To defect means to go from one side to another. That means it is, at this point, Ravana's intelligence was not just destroyed. Ravana's intelligence had become a servant of his desires. Our intelligence is meant to be the observer of our desires, the evaluator of our desires. Should I do this? Should I not do this? But if the intelligence becomes the servant of the desire, then whatever we are planning to do, we think that I'll do it in such a way that I can do it and get away with it. So, many times people think that actually the problem is not doing the wrong thing. The problem is getting caught for doing the wrong thing. So I saw a traffic related joke. It said that a cop is asking a person who was speeding, did you not see the speed limit? He said, yes, cop, I saw the speed limit, I just didn't see you. So the idea is that the problem is not doing the wrong thing, the problem is getting caught while doing the wrong thing. That's what people think. So Ravana also thought that if I can abduct Sita without having to confront Ram, then after I go to Lanka, Lanka is impregnable, Ram will never be able to come. So in this way, I can fulfill my desire without having to fight with Ram. So the whole scheme required intelligence. But the intelligence was not used intelligently. The intelligence was used foolishly instead of intelligently. So intelligence is a resource, and how we use it is up to us. So here, he uses intelligence to make this whole plan, and when Maricha was still reluctant, Maricha realized that he will not be able to convince Ravana, but then he was himself hesitant to participate. Then Ravana, in typical demoniac fashion, issued an ultimatum. What is the ultimatum?
Either I'll kill you or
do or die. Yeah, do or die. Okay. This was that. It's my way or the graveyard. You have to do what I tell you. Otherwise, I will kill you. Now Maricha started thinking at this point. He said that although he was himself ascetic and although he was himself a powerful demon, he was no match to Ravana. So he couldn't fight with Ravana and have a chance of winning. At the same time, if he was killed by Ravana, I don't know what destination I will get. But if I try to allure Ram away, eventually Ram will kill me. So death is unavoidable. Then let me think which death would be more auspicious. We thought that death at the hands of Ram would be more auspicious. In the scriptures it is said that those who die at the hands of Ram, at the hands of the Lord, they are also elevated. So therefore he went according to the whole plan. And most of you know the story, so I won't go into that story at this point. But he allured Sita, and Sita said, Ram, please get this deer for me. And she wanted it as a pet, so that she could have it for herself while they were there, and then she would go and take it with her to Ayodhya and offer it to Kaushalya as a gift from their forest. And Ram went to catch the deer, and the deer kept running away. And Ram would close in on it, and suddenly would take a huge leap and disappear. And as this happened once, twice, thrice, eventually Ram had gone deep into the forest. And then, when the deer suddenly took a huge leap and went further away, just when Ram was about to catch it, Ram realized this is beyond the ability of any ordinary deer. Not only would it take huge leaps, sometimes it just disappear and reappear in another place. And Ram realized that something fishy is going on over here. Then he decided to shoot Maricha. As he shot the arrow, Maricha, for many demons, they require some power to change their form and to exhibit their artificial form, whatever form they're in. But when they're terribly wounded, when their life is itself a threat, at that time, whatever form they have assumed, that garb disappears. It's just like some of us may speak in a different voice. I'm with this may be my normal voice, but sometimes I may impersonate and speak in somebody else's voice. Okay? I may use a high-pitched voice or a more muffled kind of voice. So I can do that. But if I'm in great danger, then at that time, if I'm drowning and I have to call out for help, I'll forget about muffling my voice. My attention will be only survival. What will come out is my normal voice. So like that for the demons, they may often assume different forms, but when they are about to die, the energy that they have invested in assuming that other form, that energy is no longer available. And that's why they relapse to their original form. This happens with Putana also. She comes as looks like a normal, very attractive nursing woman who is going to come and nurse Krishna. But when Krishna starts taking away her life air, then her form changes and her ghastly, gigantic form comes up. So similarly with respect to Maricha, when he is hit by this lethal arrow, his demonic form comes up. But with whatever little resource he has, he uses it to call out, "Oh Lakshman, oh Sita, help!" And he calls this out in the voice of Rama. When he calls out like this, Lakshman and Sita, the idea is they will think that Ram is in trouble and Lakshman will go out to help and Sita will be left alone. And that whole plan goes along that way. Now as he speaks like this, Ram realizes that this was a whole conspiracy to get Lakshman away. And he turns around and he departs. As he's turning around, he's glaring at this demon who has tried to trick him. So he is looking at Maricha, Maricha is looking at him. At that time, Maricha leaves. He leaves his body, he dies. So he does get his purpose of dying in the presence of Ram, at the hands of Ram, fulfilled. But what he does is not considered devotional. There are two, he is concerned about his destination. Oh, if I die at Ram's hand, that's auspicious. But destination alone is not important. Intention also is important. Maricha is never considered as an example of devotion because he did not act in a devotional way. On the other hand, we see that Jatayu, just a few hours later, Jatayu tries to protect Sita from being abducted by Rama. He also dies, and he dies at the hands of Rama. But because he is dying for Ram's sake, eventually Ram comes by his side and Ram blesses him. And Ram performs his last rites. So Maricha knows this point that, oh, if I die at the hands of the Lord, I'll be liberated. But liberation is not simply moving to a particular location. Liberation is a change of consciousness, the change of intention. Sometimes we may see, sometimes you see in the books, okay, this is the material world, this is the spiritual world. And you may think, okay, these are like, okay, this is here, this is here. Like this is USA, and this is Canada. So, you may think that there is like geographical continuity. This is here and that is there. But the spiritual world is not just another location, it is another level of reality. It exists at a higher level of reality. And going there is not just a matter of getting there. It's a matter of getting the right consciousness to stay there. There is the story of Durvasa Muni, who actually goes to the Vaikuntha. But he's going there, oh Vishnu, save me from the Sudarshan. He goes there, but he can't stay there. He has to come back from there. So, Maricha thinks that, oh, if I just remember the Lord at the time of death, if I am seeing him, if I am being killed by him, that's enough. But actually, what is required is not just at whose hands we die, but with what consciousness we die. And with what, not just with what consciousness we die, with what consciousness we have lived. If we miss out on this essential purpose, that spiritual growth is not just a matter of externals, it's a matter of internal change, of redirecting our heart. Then we may do all the externals, but we will not grow spiritually. The externals are meant to promote the internals. I mean, external is not important, but what is the point of it all? The point is that a change of heart. And Maricha has no change of heart. He is still self-centered in his devotion. His idea is that doesn't think that God is the destination of my life. He thinks God is a tool to the destination. The destination is to be liberated. And he thinks God is a tool to that. But God is not the tool, God is the goal. So this misunderstanding is what keeps him from attaining devotion. Liberation is not just a change of physical location, liberation is actually a change of consciousness, a change of disposition. And without getting that, changing externals is not going to work. So Maricha's calculations are self-centered. You may say, what could he have done? Rama threatened him with death, so he had no option. Not necessarily. He is a demon. He would have thought of his demoniac intelligence some options. He didn't want to die at Ravana's hands, but he could have said to Ravana that I'll go along with you. I'll do what you say. But then eventually, instead of taking on a deer's form which allures Sita and then takes Ram away, he could have gone to Ram and taken shelter of Ram. And if he had told Ram that this is the plan, and he had helped Ram with part the conspiracy after Sita, Ram would surely be protective for him. Ram would have protected him.
Like Vibhishan.
Yeah, Vibhishan took the help of Vibhishan, came over to Ram's side and Ram protected him. So he did not do that. So he knew spiritual knowledge that if we die in the proximity of the Lord, if we die in the hands of the Lord, we get elevated. But he did not know the purpose of spiritual knowledge. The purpose of spiritual knowledge is actually to become devoted to the Lord. If that purpose is forgotten, one can go through the actions. But going through the actions is important to the extent it changes our intentions. If we just go through the actions without changing our intentions, then we are not growing spiritually. So Maricha represents devotion motivated by fear. He does practice some kind of devotion. He has some devotional understanding. He is practicing asceticism. But it is motivated by fear. Oh, Ram should not come and kill me. That's why I will sacrifice. Now, Ram is not an enemy who is out to kill us. He's our greatest well-wisher. When I was in college, I had a friend who was almost atheistic, never interested in anything spiritual. And then recently, he called me and asked me, he was staying in a particular city, is there any temple nearby? He says, ISKCON temple. I would like to go and I'll give some donation there. So I told him about your temple, and then I asked him, have you become more interested in God? He says, you never interested. What inspired you to give this donation? He says, no, I'm not interested in God at all. I'm just starting a new business. If God exists, He should not create any trouble for me. Now, God is not a trouble creator for anyone. He's actually a person who relieves us from trouble. But when we are motivated by fear, then the idea is that we see God negatively. And then at that level, again, we are seeing God as a tool. Okay, I want the business to prosper. And I'm giving some donation to God, that's good. So there is fear which is good. Fear, in the Bible it is said, fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. But fear of God is not the end of wisdom. It is the beginning. It is like a small child and a parent. The parent has, you should not go on the road because some vehicle may come and knock you over. Don't run on this, don't play on the streets. And the child plays on the street, the father shouts, the mother shouts. Child does fear, no, I should not do this. That's good, that level of fear. But fear shouldn't be the defining emotion in the relationship. Child is to grow up, child is to see that the parents love me, they care for me. And the child also wants to love the parents back. So that defining emotion has to be affection, has to be love. And as a part of love, there is fear. Fear can also be of different types. There can be fear that if I do this wrong, I will be punished. There can also be fear that if I do this, I'll displease my loved ones. I'll hurt my loved ones. There can also be fear that by doing this, I may get alienated from my loved ones. So all these are different levels of fear. This fear of, so when we are allured to do something wrong, one level could be that if I do this, there is a law of karma, I'll get consequences. So I don't want to do this. That is also good. Other can be that I want to develop an emotional relationship with them. And I want to please him, not displease him. So if I do this, I will displease him, so I want to avoid it. Other can be, if I do this, then by doing this, my consciousness will become covered with more and more by materialism. If it gets covered by materialism, then I will get distanced from my Lord. Therefore, I don't want to do this. So all these kinds of fear can be positive. But the driving emotion is not fear. It's like when we are driving, a little fear is good. I shouldn't veer off track. I shouldn't ram into some other car. I should take care that my car tires has enough air, that there is enough fuel, the brakes are working. A little fear can act as a protector. But when we are driving a car, the primary emotion is not fear. Hey, what if accident? What if accident? What if accident? No, the primary emotion is I want to get to a particular destination. So similarly, when we approach the Lord, the primary emotion is not fear. The primary emotion is we want to approach a destination, and that destination is the Lord Himself. So when there is religion or devotion practiced at the level of fear, then the Lord is not the object of devotion. He is simply a tool for avoiding trouble. And that is a very reductionistic, distorted, limited conception of God. But what the Ramayana reveals is that the Lord is the benefactor of everyone. And He is meant, rather than thinking about at whose hands I die, for where I die, for who, we focus on for whom do I live, and for whom, for what purpose am I living. And Srila Prabhupada was in he retired from his business. He was staying in Vrindavan. And many people, when they have some pious inclinations, they think that the perfection of life is to leave one's body in Vrindavan, in a holy place of Vrindavan or Mayapur or Kashi or some other place like that. And sometimes people take a vrata that I will never leave this place. That's called a vrata of Kshetra Sannyas. And I'll stay in this place, and it's like all Kshetra apart from this Kshetra, all places apart from this place I have renounced. I'll live here and I will leave from here. So many people, they take that kind of vow. When Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, at that time, he would come to Vrindavan, but he would leave again. He would go to Delhi to get his magazines printed, back to work magazine printed, to get it distributed, and then he would again come back, again go, and then he went to Jhansi, he went to different places. So the temple where he was staying, the pujari over there was surprised. He says, "This Swamiji, why is he going again and again? He thought that he's renounced the world. Why doesn't he just stay peacefully in Vrindavan?" Yes, staying in Vrindavan, being absorbed in Krishna is very good. But Prabhupada had a higher absorption. It was not just to live in Vrindavan, but to live for Vrindavan. Live for Vrindavan means that he lived for sharing the glories of Vrindavan. So although he left Vrindavan to come to America, he actually did not leave Vrindavan. He brought Vrindavan in his heart. So can take a pure devotee out of the dham, but we cannot take the dham out of the pure devotee. The holy abode stays in the heart, and the holy Lord stays in the heart. So Prabhupada did not live in Vrindavan, but wherever he went, he lived for Vrindavan. And he fulfilled the purpose of the Lord. What is Vrindavan? Yes, it is at one level a place in northern India. But more importantly, it is a place where there is devotion to the Lord that is manifested. And that devotion is what is central. That devotion is what is most important. And Prabhupada had that devotion, and he had people become devoted to the Lord wherever he went. In the Bhagavatam it is stated, in the Puranas it is stated that Lord Vishnu is telling Narad Muni, Naham vasami vaikunthe yoginam hridayeshu va yatra gayanti madbhakta tatra tishtami narada. So this is Naham vasami vaikunthe. I don't reside in Vaikuntha. Yoginam hridayeshu va. I don't reside in the hearts of yogis. Now these statements can seem counterfactual. Is it that we practice bhakti, we go to spiritual world and find Vishnu is not there? So what did I come here for? No, the Lord is there in spiritual world. And then also, I'm not in the heart of the yogis. The yogis, they meditate to discover the Lord in the heart and to meditate on Him in their hearts. Dhyana vastita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogino. The yogis see Him in the state of dhyana in their own hearts. So the Lord is there in the hearts of the yogis. He is there in the spiritual world. But the point is, He is not perceivable to us there. He is not accessible to us there. So the statement here is not literal. It is rhetorical. So and that rhetorical point is made in the second half of the statement. Yatra gayanti madbhakta tatra tishtami narada. Yatra gayanti madbhakta. Where I am glorified by my devotees, that is where I am present. What this means is that we can perceive the Lord's presence where the devotees come together and glorify Him. So that's what Srila Prabhupada did. Wherever he went, he glorified Krishna. And he built temples, he inspired others to build temples. He inspired devotees to turn their homes into temples. And through it all, he made the Lord manifest everywhere. And by the Lord's arrangement, eventually when he traveled all over the world, he built 108 temples. The time came for him to depart, the Lord arranged for him to be back in Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, in the month of Kartik, surrounded by his devotees, at an auspicious time, he departed from the world. So he lived in Vrindavan, he lived for Vrindavan, and he left in Vrindavan for Vrindavan. So that is the life of devotion. And for us, when we are trying to practice bhakti, we understand that we may be at a very preliminary level in the practice of bhakti, or we may be at an advanced level. The important thing is we understand that the Lord is our goal. Pleasing Him is our goal. The externals are important to the extent that they lead to an internal change. Sometimes, for the service of the Lord, we may have to do certain services which may keep us, which may take us away from devotees, take us away from the center of bhakti. Say, sometimes we are doing a particular service, say, nice katha and kirtan are going on, but we are cooking, or we are taking care of children, then the background doing some other services. Then that time we may feel, oh, I am not able to connect with Krishna. Yes, that's true, you want to connect, but if you are doing service, that is what is important. Somebody else may be actually sitting in a katha, but if their thoughts are simply about their own aggrandizement. Oh, if I do this much punya, I'll get this much result. Then they are not growing spiritually. So, that attitude of service is what elevates us. And that attitude of service was lacking in Maricha. But if that attitude is present externally, however we will be situated, we will be elevated and ultimately we will be united with our Lord. So I'll summarize. I spoke today about Maricha and how the action, destination is not more important than the action. So Maricha was a demon with shape-shifting abilities, and Ram stunned him with a blunt arrow, became fearful, and to avoid Ram's wrath, had a apparent change of heart. But he did not, although he became conscious, his change of heart was, he was earlier thinking, I am so powerful, now he realized that Ram is far more powerful than me. But so in that sense, there was some change. But he still saw Ram as an enemy, as a danger, not a shelter, not as a leisure. And whatever we think about, we attract situations for that thing to happen. So the power of our intention is not absolute, but it is not, the intention is not omnipotent, but it is also not impotent. By the way we think, we attract that kind of situations. So Maricha, by constantly thinking of Ram in fear, Ram with his arrow coming to shoot him, that's what happened to him eventually. But it happened not just by destiny, but also happened because of his own imprudent choice. So Ravana initially hesitated to antagonize Ram, knowing his power. But when the desire was triggered within him by Shurpanakha's explicit description of Sita's beauty, then the barricade of his intelligence was knocked over. It's like a snowball which is too strong, will knock over the barricade. Like that, his intelligence was knocked over. And when our desires become too strong, they don't just destroy our intelligence, they cause our intelligence to defect. Then we start using the intelligence to try to come up with schemes for fulfilling the desire. So he came up with a conspiracy, and Maricha thought that better that I be killed by Ram than Ravana. I'll get a better destination. But his calculation was misdirected because he did not think of the purpose of elevation or liberation. He saw God as a tool to elevation, not as the goal of elevation. And although he did kill, he did fulfill his plan and die in Ram's presence at Ram's hand, still he displeased Ram. On the other hand, Jatayu, Vibhishan, Jatayu died, Vibhishan lived, but both of them, they died and lived for Ram's sake, and they are considered model devotees. So so the most important thing in bhakti is not the externals, but the internals. The external are meant to foster the internals. So the internal is, going to the spiritual world is not just a matter of relocation, it is a matter of reorientation of the heart. And when we practice bhakti, the important thing is that we live for the Lord. Srila Prabhupada, he lived in Vrindavan, but he left Vrindavan. But he carried Vrindavan. He lived in Vrindavan, and later he left Vrindavan, he lived for Vrindavan. And eventually the Lord arranged for him that he was brought back to Vrindavan. The purpose of going to Vaikuntha, the purpose of perceiving the Lord in our heart is ultimately to glorify Him. And wherever is glorified, that's where we can perceive Him most accessibly. So by keeping this purpose, this attitude of service by which we connect with the Lord in the forefront of our consciousness, and whether we are close to Him, whether we are away from Him, we will always be internally close to Him, and eventually we will attain Him. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.